Love it or hate it about it, baby. Maybe leave it on the shelf. Love it or hate it about it, baby. Maybe leave it on the shelf. Love it or hate it about it, baby. Come on, leave it on the shelf. Love it or hate it about it, baby. Just leave it on the shelf.
Hey, page turners, welcome back. Once again, I am here at the Detroit Fanfare at the Adobe Hotel here in Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, and I'm sitting with Dan Dougherty, which actually is the author and artist on Touching Evil, a book that I will be reviewing here in the next coming episode. But we're actually meeting up here today, and I got to say right off the bat that this is a really good story. This is the type of work that I really want to push out to the viewers here. It's independent, it's well done, and it's a solid story. Where did it come from?
I've been sitting on this idea since, 2006 or 7. And initially I had a totally different spin on it, but I was just talking to one of my buddies, actually a fellow comic creator, Raphael Nieves, and we were just talking about like a couple different projects he was pitching, and he said something about a book that we ended up working on, the Apocalypse Plan. We were talking about the subject of evil and what it is, and if it's something that's just ingrained in you, or if it's like more of an act, you know.
Okay.
So I told him, like, man, I got this idea for a book, and I really want to do it. And it was a rough idea at the time. It was a lot different than what this is now. But he was nice enough to listen to me and let me work it out over the course of that San Diego weekend. It was a fun time. But I sat on it for years. I've just been working on other people's books, on Beardo, my other comic, just picking up work wherever I can, like most of these freelance illustrators are. And then one day I'm like, man, I got a story to tell, I got to tell it. Like, that urge was there, so yeah.
Where did it all start with the ghost cell? Was that a main concept, or did that just evolve from the thought?
It evolved from the thought. It basically, it started with the idea, somebody told me like, something about like if they shook hands with the president or something like that, and they didn't like the president at the time. He was someone who was very, very politically vocal, which I am not. But he's like, I wish I had the power just like take him down, you know, just with a handshake. Because that's what those guys, they do business with a handshake, and you know, they change so many people's lives with just a shake of the hand. And so that little nugget, I was like, what if you could touch somebody, and if they're evil, inherently evil, they're dead, they're out. And just, it took me back to like being a kid and, you know, watching the Twilight Zone.
Oh, definitely.
You know, all those episodes are always just like a simple premise, like what if this, and then you'd see where they go with it. And what was cool about it to me with Twilight Zone is they were always great stories, but the concept was so fun and interesting that you could, before the episode was over, you could almost think of your own story that you would, you know.
The ending of it, like it has to go here, and then it never did. You know, it was like the big M. Night Shyamalan Before the Man Was Born. It's always that plot twist right now.
Yeah, like, you know, I mean, I thought of this, and it's taken so many different permutations from when I originally conceived it. And since I put it out, I've had people come up to me and go like, dude, if I had that power, here's what I'd do. Or if I knew that guy, like these are the kind of questions I'd ask. And like they've got their own spin on it already. It's only 2 issues in, so that makes me feel really good.
Oh, yeah.
When you have that kind of like a subject that you know I'm gonna write, but you also allow for like the reader to use their own imagination.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I feel like I've got something.
You sent me the book back, I'd say about a month and a half ago, and I was at work, and I didn't have much going on at the time. I didn't have customers in, and I sat down and I read it, just sped through it. I mean, I don't think I've ever read a book that quickly and gotten every single thing. Nothing was lost in translation for me reading it. But I have to say, man, from the first page, you're pulled in. The last page keeps you there. I mean, it's like it starts going and it ends. It gives you everything that you want. And there's so many superhero books out there that just they have a good concept, but they never touch down on that concept. They're dancing around it left and right. There's horror books out there that just go for the shock, the vulgar, the fear. You've got this, like you said, it's like a Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side, to where there's this eerie sense over everything.
Yeah.
but yet nothing actually is really as eerie as you're personally making it. Yet, you know what I'm saying?
I like building that sense of dread. Like,
yes.
Like it's definitely there's a ominous foreboding happening within the book because you know that most of the players are either they don't know what's going to happen to them. They're not. It's not a man on a mission. It's not a story where like somebody's like, I have to do this and I have to fight that. It's a reluctant heroine actually, is a female protagonist who is thrust into this by circumstances that had nothing to do with it. She was just doing her job, right? And she happened to bump into the guy who ends up giving her the curse. It could have been anyone else. It just happened to her. But what she's going to end up doing with it is, it's really where the story's going. And on top of that, I think what's most interesting to me is there's a line that one of the guys says. It's like the people who would want this curse are the people who shouldn't have it.
Yes.
And you're going to start seeing who wants it, and like it's going to start. You're going to start wondering like what people's motives are. I've tried my best to not spell out like what is evil because I don't know myself. Like, it's too broad of a term.
Oh yeah.
But
you're venturing into that territory as you tell the story.
Yeah, but like having these characters like who sometimes don't even know all of the things that are happening, but they're doing what they would do, kind of shows their motivations and their intentions, and then you'll see how that plays out as they come in contact with them.
How many issues do you actually have planned for the book?
Well, for this arc, I'd like it to be 6 issues. Since I am self-publishing, you get the freedom to go like I could make it longer or shorter, but I can tell a pretty concise story, I think, within a 6-issue arc. But I'd like it to keep going. I know what the end would be if I ever had to end it, but since where it leaves off at the end of issue 6 would definitely gear itself up for another very solid story, which obviously I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I haven't read the 3rd issue yet, so you can't tell me the 6th.
No, right? I know. I'm getting way ahead of myself, but I definitely want to tell 2 major story arcs that I'd like to get through, but it's the way it's set up. I'd like it to be something where I could expand upon the universe that I've created if people are reading it and enjoying it. If not, I know exactly how I'm going to.
So, well, hopefully we can keep this book going and everybody out there that's watching. Do you have a website that they can go to pick up the book?
Yes, it is. I do another comic called Beardo, so the site is www.beardocomics.com, and I'll have issue 3 available for pre-order pretty soon. This is in October right now, so like issue 2 is coming out November 20th. I'm hoping to get it up on the site in a couple of weeks. So,
nice.
Plenty of available.
Awesome. So you got Heroine, you got Touching Evil, you got all these, you got some projects in the work. Do you have any extra? Like, is there any new books that you're trying to kind of toss around?
Absolutely. I actually just for the first time saw a book that I worked on back in April with Dan Fogler of Walls of Fury, Marky's Moms, the
Fanboys.
Fanboys, exactly. Yeah. He's a super nice guy. Actually, the first time I've officially met him in person, but we've been emailing back and forth for the better part of this year. I got the copies of the book I worked with him, Moon Lake Volume 2. There was a Volume 1 and 2 through Archaea, and they literally got the books ready for this show to have it for Halloween because it's a very, going back to Twilight Zone, it's a very Twilight Zone-ish kind of book where there's this town that is affected by the moon, and all these strange occurrences happen within the town. And it's an anthology, so there's all these different stories about. One of my characters is a Manchurian candidate cheerleader who thinks that she's hallucinating that she's in this really wonderful magical fairy tale land, but in reality she's a insane assassin. She's like killing all these people, and it's just a fun romp with swords and violence and
nice.
Clever. Dan's really good with dialogue, so he does some fun stuff with that. And then there's another one called Mishmash, where this old lady who no one cares about, and she's a hoarder. She dies, and her spirit takes all of her hoarded material and turns into a giant monster that starts attacking people.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
See, if that doesn't provoke you guys to go pick out, what was the name of the book?
Moon Lake, and it's volume 2.
Moon Lake Volume 2, and it's actually not in print from what I hear just yet, but it'll be coming out in the next
You
couple of
can
weeks.
order in previews. I know it's in previews. I forget off the top of my head what the code is, but it's pretty easy to find. I know that they already had it in Archaea a couple months ago, so if you look a couple months back, it should be there. Or just, I'm sure there's a better way to do it than that.
Yeah. Well, you guys know how you pick up your books. Get out there, pick up some Touching Evil, check out the Beardo comic, and definitely check out the other stuff that this man's worked on. It's quality. And
Thanks.
these right here, I got to say, these are probably some of the best independent books that I've had handed to me, sent in, submitted, and in the whole history of the show. So I want to thank you very much for your time, your effort, and contributing to the show.
Absolutely, anytime.
Oh, thank you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. So you guys definitely check this man out. If you don't, I'm going to hunt you down. I know where you live.
He does.
And I'm taking him with me.
Love it or hate it about you, baby, maybe leave it on the shelf. Love it or hate it about you, baby, maybe leave it on the shelf.